from our side, if it all makes sense, it would be a great addition to the table.
This is Danny Gaffon for Pro Boxing Fans. It's a pleasure to have with me via Zoom, live from Philly. Eddie Hearn, how are we doing?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Can't complain. Looking forward to getting out watching the football. We'll not talk about that because there might be a fallout. More important things to talk about. Jaron Ennis, 14,000 headlining hometown. You must be buzzing for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to go through the stats. It looks like the biggest crowd in this city for 50 years. And, exciting to see him up close and personal and live, because watched him for a long time. Really feel like he's a generational talent. Believe he's a pound for pound superstar in the waiting, in the making. And, looking forward to seeing, and a lot of pressure, sometimes, as we've seen, Subriel Matias, even Regis, we did the homecoming when he turned pro, when he signed with us. It's a different kind of pressure, but I believe if he gets it right, if he shines, then he's just going to skyrocket on Saturday and, make a huge name for himself in the sport.
I was going to come on the pressure, Jaron, maybe under this weekend. I mean, we've all heard for a long time, ability-wise, you've said it, people have said it, even who have no commercial interest in Jaron Ennis, that he's up there with the most talented fighters in the sport. But as you say, fighting in his hometown for the first time in a long time, what's his demeanor like this week? How do you think he's soaking it all in? Probably biggest
Yeah,
week of his career to date, I
yeah,
think.
without doubt. I mean, super calm, but also you can tell super excited. And there is a lot of pressure. It's a massive sports city. Obviously, it's his home. And I think that, it's going to be really interesting to see how he handles that pressure. The special ones thrive under that kind of pressure. I think he's one of the few people who, like, there's a lot of haters in boxing, trolls, people make stuff up to try and like diminish people. And he's one of the few people that I've actually never heard or seen a negative comment from the boxing world in terms of his ability, right? No one's gone, I think he's a little bit overrated. Oh, he does this. Oh, he's boring. Oh, he can't punch. Oh, he's got no chin. Oh, and I think that just goes to show you how well respected this guy is as a fighter in terms of people's opinion of him. So that, coupled with obviously the magnitude of the event and the crowd on Saturday, I think get it right, and it's going to be a huge weekend for him.
Moving forward, he is expected to get past David Avanesian, good fighter he may be. How do you, as a promoter, go about turning that ability that we all know Boots has got into making him the commercial star to match it?
I think that the toughest thing with Boots is going to be getting other people to fight him. We've seen that a lot in the past, but generally that happens when the fighter isn't commercially big enough to command the kind of paydays that you have to give people. We're doing a huge gate on Saturday, and with all due respect, it is for David Avanesian. You make a big fight with a high profile name, or you make a unification fight, you're going to sell the whole place out. So a lot depends on the commercial success of Saturday. Also for DAZN, we're expecting huge numbers on the platform as well. And I believe we can bring those big fights to Philadelphia, whether that's a Stanionis, whether that's a Barros. We need to, I think then the move to 154 is inevitable at one stage, but also to do that off the back of clearing up the division would be a really nice thing to do. So that's the plan. Get through Saturday, one more big fight this year, hopefully a unification, and then, either try and continue to unify or make that move to 54, maybe even to fight the winner of Crawford Madrimov at some point next year.
Exciting stuff. As I touched on at the start of the interview, going to be a lot of people there on Saturday night. I've just saw one of them, Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I spoke to him last night, only just to invite him to the show, and he'll be coming. I think that, as I said to you previously about people spinning narratives and making things up and, whatever you want to call it, I feel like there's a lot of people trying to diminish his achievements. I mean, if you look at it, really, since he told Top Rank and announced publicly that he wasn't going to re-sign with them, let's be honest, and I don't blame them, they're not really going to do much of a promotional job on him. But the reality is he did a great crowd in Newark. He did record ratings on ESPN for 2024. The kid's a star. Everyone's talking about him right now. You know, in some fights, he's not going to go out and fight like Arturo Gatti with his chin in the air and having a war. He's just an outstandingly gifted fighter. But in my opinion, he's a star. And there are, you know, the potential that he has is unlimited, really, with the right team and the right promotional vehicle behind him. So at the moment, it's Shakur against the world. You know, you're seeing him on Twitter really taking on all comers, and he's had to do his own promotional job, really. And I think that we could help relieve some of that pressure. We could give him the platform and the promotion that he really needs. And, you know, I think there's some huge fights out there for him. Obviously, it's got to be a commercial deal that makes sense for everybody, us included. But I'm sure we'll have those conversations. And I think, you know, I've already said, I think he's a pound for pound fighter. And, you know, our stable's getting stronger and stronger. And I think a Shakur Stevenson addition is definitely something that interests me.
Shakur's another one who I don't think anyone's in doubt over his ability. The common criticism is people would maybe like to see him go through the gears a bit more against opposition. He appears to be levels above. What did you make of his performance if you saw it against Arum at the weekend?
Good performance. I mean, you saw he was on the front foot for most of the fight. Like, I just think you're going to see the best of him against elite opposition. And I feel like the matchmaking's been quite poor. Again, you know, there's not a lot of people queuing up to fight him because he's very difficult to beat. But, you know, a fight against Tank, and I like the Zepeda fight as well. You know, William Zepeda is very popular now. He's very dangerous, comes forward. It's a really good fight. I think that's a good fight for him. But I think you're going to see the best Shakur Stevenson against elite opposition.
Shakur said some very nice things about you during the week. I don't know if you had the chance to see.
Yeah.
So go on, sorry.
You know, for us, obviously, those kind of compliments from a pound for pound great fighter is great to read. And you know, I think we could do great things together. I do. But obviously, it has to work for us. It has to work for him. But, you know, in terms of the potential out there of what he could do or should do, I guess we're right up there in terms of discussions. So we'll have a chat with his team. And, you know, from our side, if it all makes sense, it would be a great addition to the table.
Someone who's not been as nice about you in the past is arguably the biggest fight out there for Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis. Would there be any concerns that if you were to sign with Shakur, I mean, for one reason or another, Gervonta doesn't seem keen on working with Matchroom. We've all saw the DM leaking and the tweets and whatever. Would that be a concern that could potentially get in the way of a Shakur Tank fight?
Really, because the way that I would probably construct the agreement with Shakur is if that has to be on a PBC show, I don't mind. You know, I'm not looking to, you know, we need to be flexible and fluid enough to overcome boxing egos and politics. And, you know, I'm pretty good at doing that with our fighters in that respect of them fighting away from home or on other cards if we need to. But who's to say that we can't work together with PBC, with Amazon and DAZN, which has been happening a little bit with Canelo and obviously with Riyadh season as well. I think that's a tremendous fight. So yeah, from our side, if he did work with us, you know, we'd definitely push for that fight and would be willing to take a backseat, if you like, for the benefit of Shakur Stevenson's career, if that was the case. But I don't think the way things are playing out in the landscape now, I'm not sure that would be the case.
Just moving away, Eddie. Chris Eubank Jr. to boxer. Where do you think that leaves this potential Canelo Alvarez fight? I mean, the two front runners appeared to be your man Edgar Berlanga and Chris. I think most people thought Chris seemed like the favourite, but as far as I know it, Ben Shalom hasn't done too much business with Canelo in the past. So where do you think that leaves that potential fight? And is it a surprising one for you?
I think that fight, I think Eubank's sensible enough to know that that's the wrong fight for him. But if there was a huge amount of money, he would have no choice but to take that fight. And I would think that the money that he's asked for means that fight is impossible. You know, all of our conversations were he wants a couple of warm-up fights to get himself back in. We wanted to give him one warm-up fight and then fight Conor Benn. He wanted those two warm-up fights, if you like. And that's what I think Boxer are giving him. So, you know, the last we heard from him was we're going to do these two fights with Boxer, the warm-up fights, and then we'll see if we can make the Conor Benn fight. So we'll see. You know, obviously Conor needs to know his date of when he's able and free to participate in the UK, which hopefully isn't too far away. But I don't know, I don't know enough about the Eubank and Canelo situation. My gut feeling is it won't happen, but who knows?
Do you think after all that's gone on and the sort of back and forth, you'd be able to give one last rattle to make Eubank Jr. Conor Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's something, I don't know how long the Sky deal is. That, like I said, they made it clear that they want to make that fight and they'll do these two fights and then revisit those talks. I've no idea if that's with Boxer, without Boxer. They said it's not a promotional deal, it's a partnership. I don't know what that means, but every fighter likes to have their own promotional company these days. It doesn't actually mean a lot, but you get to have your logo on the poster. So
Last thing I want to talk to you about, Eddie, Johnny Fisher. Seen he's going to be on the Prograis
yeah.
Cattron card. Any word on an opponent for that?
No, we want someone, credible, decent name who can give him rounds. I think that's the key. Last Saturday was special at the Copper Box, really fresh, kind of invigorating moment for boxing and for British boxing. And, I think Johnny has huge upside in his career. I think he's improving all the time. He's a smart kid and, will be a good addition to a big card for Catterall against Prograis. And looking forward to seeing his support head to Manchester August 24th. Then he'll fight, looks like, in Australia in November. So this will be his last UK fight at 2024. And then looking to headline early 2025 back at the Copper Box.
The reason I ask is because I'm sure you saw we had Chris Lovejoy on Pro Boxing
Oh,
Fans
yeah.
today. He wants the fight. He's waiting for the call.
Yeah, as I said, I want someone that can take Johnny some rounds. So I don't think it'll be Mr. Lovejoy on August 24th.
Oh, you'll be gutted to hear. I'll pass it on. Eddie, I'll let you go. Enjoy the
All
rest of your
right.
time in Philly. Really appreciate
Cheers,
you hopping
mate.
on. Cheers.
Bye, mate.